Did you know that the salt you consume daily might be silently damaging your health and you may not even realize it? Every day, millions of people carefully watch their sugar intake, avoid fried foods, and opt for products labeled low-fat or organic. Yet there's one dangerous ingredient sneaking into nearly every bite we eat: salt. And not just the kind you shake onto your fries. This is the salt hidden deep within processed foods, canned vegetables, breads, sauces, and even so-called healthy snacks. Dr. Alan Goldhamer, founder of the True North Health Center in California, has spent decades warning the public about what he calls the hidden epidemic of salt addiction. Through his extensive research and patient care, Dr. Goldhamer discovered that most people are consuming far more salt than their bodies can safely handle without even tasting it. He's coined a memorable phrase to describe the root of many modern health problems: SOS, an acronym for sugar, oil, and salt. According to Dr. Goldhamer, these three ingredients are not only unnecessary but actively harmful, especially when consumed in the quantities typical of modern diets. And here's the catch: you don't need to be pouring salt on your food to be eating too much of it. In fact, about 70–80% of the salt we consume doesn't come from the salt shaker. It comes from the packaged and restaurant foods we eat every day. So why is salt so dangerous? Why do food companies keep adding it? And what happens when we cut it out completely? That's exactly what we're going to explore in this video. From understanding how salt affects your body, to uncovering the places it hides, to showing you practical ways to reduce your intake, we'll walk you through the dangers you've never been warned about, and give you a new way to look at your health, one meal at a time. Because when it comes to protecting your heart, your kidneys, and even your brain, salt might be the most important ingredient to rethink. Section 1. The ubiquity of hidden salt. Let's start with a surprising fact. Even if you never pick up a salt shaker, you're probably consuming double or even triple the recommended daily amount of sodium. How is that possible? It's because salt hides in places most people would never suspect. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, more than 70% of the average person's sodium intake comes from processed and restaurant foods, not from what we add at home. That means the real danger isn't the pinch of salt you sprinkle on your eggs. It's the salt that's already baked, blended, or bottled into the foods we buy. Take a closer look at your pantry or your next grocery store haul. Bread and rolls, canned soups, sauces, salad dressings, frozen dinners, deli meats, even breakfast cereals. Yes, cereals can be packed with sodium, and it's not always labeled clearly. You might see phrases like lightly salted or reduced sodium, but unless you read the fine print, you're still consuming more than your body needs. Dr. Goldhamer often points out that food manufacturers don't just use salt as a preservative. They use it to make food taste better and trigger cravings. Salt intensifies flavor, masks off notes in processed ingredients, and enhances mouthfeel, making products more palatable and addictive. That's why it's added to everything from peanut butter to pasta sauce. Even more concerning is how this hidden salt flies under the radar. Many people think they're eating healthy because they choose whole grain breads, veggie burgers, or canned beans. But those same healthy foods often contain enough sodium to push your daily intake into the danger zone, especially when you eat out, where chefs rely heavily on salt for flavor. And here's a little-known trick: companies often use multiple types of sodium compounds to disguise how much salt is really in the product. Ingredients like monosodium glutamate, MSG, sodium bicarbonate, sodium nitrate, and disodium phosphate all contribute to your sodium load without being labeled simply as salt. The result: most adults in developed countries consume around 3,400 milligrams of sodium per day, far above the American Heart Association's ideal limit of 1,500 milligrams. And the consequences can add up silently over the years. But here's the part. Most people miss your taste buds adapt to salty food. The more you eat, the more you need to feel satisfied. This creates a cycle where your body no longer recognizes the natural flavor of unsalted food, and that's exactly what food companies want. So, what can you do about it? That's what we'll explore next as we dive into how salt becomes more than just a flavor enhancer. For many, it becomes an addiction. Section 2. Salt as an addictive substance. If you've ever tried cutting back on salty foods and found yourself irritable, unsatisfied, or craving chips or cheese more than usual, you're not alone. That's because salt, much like sugar and oil, can act on the brain in ways eerily similar to addictive substances. Dr. Alan Goldhamer refers to this trio, salt, oil, and sugar, as dietary pleasure traps. They hijack our natural reward system, triggering dopamine responses that make us feel good, even when what we're eating is harming our health. This response is deeply rooted in evolution. Our ancestors lived in environments where high-calorie foods and mineral-rich substances were rare, so our brains evolved to seek them out and reward us for finding them. But in today's world, where salty snacks and processed foods are everywhere, that ancient survival mechanism works against us. Modern research backs this up. Studies using functional MRI scans have shown that eating salty, sugary, or fatty foods activates the same pleasure centers in the brain as substances like nicotine or alcohol. Over time, this repeated stimulation leads to desensitization. You need more and more to get the same level of satisfaction. That's why switching to a low-salt diet can feel like a struggle at first. Food tastes bland. Meals don't feel satisfying. Some people even experience withdrawal-like symptoms, including headaches and irritability. But here's what's fascinating. Your taste buds can and do reset. Dr. Goldhamer notes that within as little as 3 weeks, most people on a salt-free diet begin to notice the natural flavors in food again. What once seemed bland starts tasting vibrant and delicious. A plain tomato becomes rich and sweet. A steamed potato doesn't need butter or salt to feel hearty and comforting. This transition is a powerful reminder of just how much salt can numb our senses and cloud our judgment about what food is supposed to taste like. And the food industry knows it. Salt is cheap, it boosts shelf life, and it makes even the lowest quality ingredients taste appealing. So, products are engineered with bliss points, carefully calculated combinations of salt, fat, and sugar that create irresistible cravings. This isn't accidental. It's science designed to keep you coming back for more. Unfortunately, this also means that people, especially children, are developing preferences for overly salted foods from an early age. By the time we reach adulthood, many of us are biologically wired to crave what's worst for us. Breaking this cycle requires more than just willpower. It takes understanding the forces at play and making deliberate choices to protect your health. Next, we'll explore exactly what's at stake, because the dangers of excess salt go far beyond just cravings. The health consequences are real, and in many cases, they're irreversible. Section 3. Health implications of excessive salt intake. Most people know that salt is linked to high blood pressure, but few realize just how widespread and dangerous this connection really is. High blood pressure, or hypertension, is often called the silent killer because it creeps up without symptoms, quietly damaging your arteries, heart, kidneys, and brain. According to the World Health Organization, excess salt consumption is one of the leading dietary risk factors for death worldwide. It's estimated to cause around 2 million deaths every year due to its role in cardiovascular disease. Dr. Alan Goldhamer has seen this firsthand. Many of the patients at his True North Health Center arrive with uncontrolled blood pressure, reliant on multiple medications. But after adopting a salt-free, whole food, plant-based diet, often alongside supervised water fasting, many see their blood pressure normalize without drugs. That's the power of removing the cause, rather than just treating the symptoms. The science backs this up. A major review of clinical trials known as the DASH sodium study showed that reducing salt intake significantly lowered blood pressure, especially in those already at risk. Even a modest reduction of 1,000 milligrams per day can make a meaningful difference. But here's the part. Most people don't hear about salt does more than just raise blood pressure. High sodium intake also strains the kidneys, which are responsible for filtering excess sodium out of the bloodstream. Over time, this can lead to reduced kidney function or even chronic kidney disease. One study published in the New England Journal of Medicine found a direct link between sodium intake and declining kidney health, especially in older adults. Salt can also affect your bones. When you consume a lot of sodium, your body loses more calcium through urine. This leaching effect weakens bones and may contribute to osteoporosis, particularly in postmenopausal women who are already at risk. And what about the brain? New research suggests that high salt consumption may impair cognitive function and increase the risk of dementia. In animal studies, diets high in salt led to reduced blood flow to the brain and worsened memory performance. While more human studies are needed, the early evidence is concerning, especially as dementia rates continue to rise globally. So while it might seem like just a pinch here or a shake there, the long-term consequences of daily overconsumption are profound. And unlike other dietary components, salt isn't something your body burns off through activity. It accumulates, creating stress in nearly every major system in the body. Fortunately, the damage isn't always permanent. As we'll see in the next section, removing salt from your diet alongside sugar and oil can lead to dramatic improvements in health, sometimes in a matter of weeks. Let's explore how the SOS-free approach works and why it's gaining attention among doctors, dietitians, and health-conscious individuals around the world. Section 4. The SOS-Free Diet Approach. What if the best way to heal your body wasn't through another prescription, but by eliminating the very ingredients that cause the damage in the first place? That's the philosophy behind the SOS-Free Diet, a dietary approach created and championed by Dr. Alan Goldhamer. It stands for eliminating 3 of the most addictive and harmful substances found in our modern food supply: sugar, oil, and salt. At first glance, it may seem radical. No added sugar, no added oils, and no added salt. How could food still taste good? How could that be healthy? But Dr. Goldhamer's work at the True North Health Center shows that not only is it possible, it's incredibly effective. Thousands of patients have adopted this approach and reversed conditions that once seemed chronic and irreversible. Hypertension, type 2 diabetes, obesity, autoimmune conditions, Even some cardiovascular diseases have dramatically improved under an SOS-free lifestyle. So, how does it work? The SOS-free diet is centered around whole, unprocessed plant foods, fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, and small amounts of nuts and seeds. Nothing is fried, nothing is sweetened, and nothing is salted. By removing these flavor crutches, the body resets, cravings diminish, natural taste returns, and inflammation begins to subside. One of the key insights Dr. Goldhamer shares is that health isn't just about what you add to your diet, it's about what you remove. Removing salt allows your blood pressure to stabilize. Removing sugar keeps your insulin levels in check. And removing oil helps your blood vessels function optimally, improving circulation and reducing plaque buildup. But it's not just about numbers on a chart. People who transition to an SOS-free diet often report better sleep, clearer thinking, more stable energy, and even emotional improvements. Without the spikes and crashes caused by salt, sugar, and fat, the body enters a more natural rhythm, and the results are hard to ignore. For example, Dr. Goldhamer recounts the story of a patient with dangerously high blood pressure over 200 systolic who, within weeks of adopting the SOS-free diet and participating in supervised fasting, saw her blood pressure return to normal levels, all without medication. Of course, it's not always easy. Our food culture is built on convenience and intense flavor, and switching to a diet with no added salt can feel like giving up a familiar friend. But as many have discovered, the freedom from cravings and the dramatic health benefits make it more than worth it. And the best part, the diet is completely natural. It doesn't rely on supplements, expensive superfoods, or complicated meal plans. Just real food, eaten in a way your body was designed to thrive on. Next, we'll get practical. If you're ready to take steps toward a healthier life, we'll show you how to start reducing your salt intake today with small changes that can make a big difference. Section 5. Practical steps to reduce salt intake. So, how do you start reducing your salt intake, especially when it's hidden in so many everyday foods? The good news is that even small changes can make a noticeable difference. And the better news, your taste buds will adjust more quickly than you might think. Dr. Alan Goldhamer often emphasizes that the key to success with reducing or eliminating salt is not about discipline, it's about preparation. Here are some practical, realistic steps you can begin today. 1. Read labels. Carefully start by checking sodium content on packaged foods. You'll be shocked to see how much salt is added to seemingly innocent items like breads, soups, salad dressings, or healthy snacks. A single slice of whole grain bread can have up to 200 milligaules of sodium. Multiply that by a few slices a day, and you're already halfway to the daily recommended maximum. 2. Cook more at home. Restaurant and takeout meals are among the worst offenders for high sodium. Cooking at home gives you complete control over what goes into your food. You can skip the salt and focus on flavor from fresh herbs, spices, citrus juice, vinegar, garlic, onion, and pepper. 3. Use salt-free seasonings. There are many salt-free seasoning blends on the market. Look for ones without potassium chloride, which can have a bitter aftertaste. Blends using smoked paprika, lemon zest, cumin, turmeric, chili powder, rosemary, thyme, and nutritional yeast can bring depth and richness without added sodium. 4. Retrain your palate. It takes about 21 to 30 days for your taste buds to reset. During this time, food may taste bland, but hang in there. As you continue, You'll begin to appreciate the natural sweetness of carrots, the earthiness of mushrooms, and the subtle flavors in beans and greens. Many people who give up salt report that, over time, salted food tastes overwhelmingly strong or even unpleasant. 5. Ditch the processed foods. Focus your diet on whole foods that don't come in packages. Fresh or frozen vegetables without sauces, whole grains, fruits, legumes, and unsalted nuts are naturally low in sodium. Even canned beans and vegetables can be used if you rinse them thoroughly to remove excess salt. 6. Eat mindfully. Slow down your eating, chew thoroughly, and savor each bite. This not only improves digestion but helps you reconnect with the natural flavors in your food, which get lost when salt dominates your plate. 7. Educate your family. Help your loved ones understand the health risks of excess salt. If you're preparing food for others, explain that the changes you're making are about long-term wellness. Many people are more open to salt reduction when they learn it's tied to lower risk of stroke, heart attack, kidney disease, and even cognitive decline. 8. Be kind to yourself. If you slip up or indulge occasionally, don't worry. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. Every step you take to reduce salt gives your body a chance to heal and your palate a chance to recover. It's not just about removing salt. It's about rediscovering the true flavors of food the way nature intended. In the final section, we'll wrap up with a call to action because understanding salt is one thing, but deciding to take control of your health, that's where the real transformation begins. Conclusion: empowering health through awareness. By now, you've seen that salt is more than just a seasoning. It's a silent driver of disease, often hidden in plain sight. From raising blood pressure to damaging kidneys, bones, and even the brain, the health consequences of excessive salt are profound and far-reaching. But here's the empowering part. You have control. Dr. Alan Goldhamer's work reminds us that healing isn't just found in hospitals or medication bottles. It's found in the daily choices we make at the dinner table. When we remove the toxic trio sugar, oil, and salt, we give our bodies the chance to function as they were meant to: clean, balanced, and thriving. And it doesn't take a lifetime to see results. Within days or weeks of reducing or eliminating salt, many people notice better energy, improved blood pressure, and a renewed connection to real, whole food. The change starts in the kitchen, but the benefits ripple into every area of life: better sleep, sharper thinking, and a deeper sense of vitality. Of course, the food industry won't make this easy. It profits when we're addicted, not when we're empowered. That's why awareness is so critical. When you understand where salt is hiding and how it's impacting your health, you can start to make better decisions, one bite at a time. So here's your challenge. Look at your next meal. Ask yourself, not just what it tastes like, but what it's made of. Take one step today to reduce your reliance on salt. Maybe it's reading a label. Maybe it's cooking one meal from scratch. Maybe it's just pausing before you reach for the shaker. And if this message resonated with you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with your family. Talk to your friends. Start a conversation about the choices that shape our health. Because one simple change like cutting back on salt can have a lasting impact, not just for you, but for those you love. Your body is always listening. Let it hear something better.